So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's Blue Bindi session, a place or space where we empower women to take charge of their financial journeys. So today I'm pretty sure you all must be aware what are we discussing today, but I'll just set the context, what all, we'll be discussing and what's in store for you all. So today we'll be diving deep into, money aspects, but we have tried to keep this as per, money milestones for every woman. So, you start your career, you would have different expectation, you'll have to do different things at different life stage of yours. So you're starting out, maybe later you're planning a family, you're raising kids, building wealth for yourself, taking care of your aging parents, so on and so forth. And each phase of your life, money is going to play a very critical role. And at the same time, as you evolve in your journey, so your financial planning also has to change, has to evolve. So as a woman, we often find ourselves juggling, multiple roles. I'm a mom, caregiver, breadwinner, I'm a daughter, and I'm a partner as well. And yet we are so involved in all those we're so involved in playing those roles that at times our financial goals or financial planning that we need to do often takes a back seat, right? So that's the reason we thought, why not? And it's May, and we all celebrated on 11th Mother's Day. So we thought, why don't we bring all those aspects together? Try to tell you how things would evolve and what you need to keep in mind at every stage of your life. Okay, so that's what's there in store today. Before we dive in, there were, some stats that again, while we were, planning what is that topic that we would want to talk about, we came across these facts, and I would really want to share those here with everyone. So yeah, so 90% of women will have to manage their money on their own. So right now we have, somebody or the other taking care, somebody is owning it, or some of us would be owning the responsibility completely. But 90% of women will have to manage money on their own at some point of time in their life. So it could be, due to longer life expectancy that we say, some personal choices, it could be divorce, or it could be anything. But that's the statistics that we came across. Then one in every four Indian women above the age of 50 will be or is a primary caregiver to both children and aging parents. I don't know if you guys have heard the term sandwich generation. So currently, most of us are there where we are taking care of our kids. At the same time, our parents are getting old, and we are taking care of them as well, right? So we need to plan for ourselves, and we need to take care of these two generations as well. Indian women invest more in gold and saving accounts than in equity and mutual funds. So this is something we've discussed about in our earlier sessions as well. So in a way, it's good. We are investing, saving, and obviously in today's time, I think if we came across a lot of memes where people were talking about, okay, the wives were really happy when the markets were so volatile that they had invested in gold and they were into equity or mutual funds. So in a way, it's good, but majority of investments happen there. Next one was women control over 30% of global wealth. They control, but most of it is managed by men. Okay. And in India too, as well, that's the case. So we'll be earning, somebody else might be managing, or you've inherited from, your families, but yet there is somebody else who's taking charge of that. So, that's one of the reasons we thought, why don't we discuss today that how at every milestone of your life, planning about your money, planning around your financial well-being is so important, because it's not just you, your partner, your kids, your family, your parents are also being dependent upon you. Okay. So now, before we dive into the session, I've set the context now. Let's get a little interactive. Let's get Mo in, and he'll, like every time, come up with something really interesting that will challenge our assumptions. And we'll actually think, okay, do we know this, or this is right, or this is false? So over to you, Moin. Start with your challenge game again.
Hey, hi Ritika, thank you so much. I hope I'm visible and audible.
I can hear you.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. So, hello, ladies. Welcome to yet another amazing session. I think this topic is really interesting. And like Ritika mentioned, I'd like to say thank you to a couple of the ladies who actually came out and gave us this feedback that this particular segment, obviously the entire session is informative. While this bit really keeps them pushes them to think like, oh, really? मतलब मैंने तो true लिखा था, but actually speaking तो यार it was not true, yaar. It was against what I was actually thinking all my life. So thank you to those ladies and to all the others. Participate now and let's have some fun. So you know the drill. The comment box is your go to place, and we'll throw in some questions and let's see. We have a timer ticking, so do not take a lot of time thinking. There are no right and wrong answers. It's just what you think. And at the end of the session, obviously you will know whether your answer was right or wrong. All right, let's have a look at the first question. All right, true or false? Let's go. Term insurance is only necessary if you're the main earner in the family. Okay, let's see what the ladies have to say about this one. And the timer is ticking. And we have answers coming in. False, 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 false. That's nice. Time's up, time's up. All right, so all of you almost have said false. Okay, moving on to the next one. If you're saving regularly, you don't really need a financial plan. इसका मतलब ये कि अरे savings हो रही है ना, तो financial plan की क्या जरूरत? Let's see if you think this is true or false. False. A lot of you guys think this is false. Very nice. Need a plan as well. Nice. Cool.
So,
Next one.
Moin, are you so you're moving to different? You're not giving us a right or wrong. We have to assume
Uh,
it, or how do we go about it, or we come back to it?
we will come back to it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we leave them introspecting on their answer, and
Okay.
we will also come back to this.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to the next one. It's too early to start planning for your child's college expenses if your child is under 5 years of age. What do you think? Okay, we see a lot of answers. It's important to start early, someone says. Very nice. So, yes. Okay, we have someone who believes this is true. Okay, we can start a little late. No worries. But the real answer is that it's never too early to start planning, irrespective of your child's age, we must say. Okay, I think the time's up. Yes, it is. Okay, it's remember, ladies, it is never too early to start planning for your child's college expenses, even though if he is just attending kindergarten or in nursery. Okay, moving on to the next one. If your partner has investments, you don't need to create your own portfolio. How many of you think this is true? And how many of you think this is false? Okay, a lot of you, almost all of you think this is false. Very nice. And time's up. So most of you, okay, a big no. Very nice. Coming out loud and strong in the comment section. So all of you are right. Your partner, irrespective of what his portfolio looks like, you can have a portfolio of your own. And again, it can look the way you want it to look. It doesn't matter if it's a bigger portfolio than your partner of it, or vice versa. All right, next one. You don't need a plan for your child's expenses until after the baby is born. This is a little tricky one. Let's see how many of you get this one right. You don't need a plan for a child's expenses until after the baby is born. मतलब पहले से planning हम करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए? False. Most of you think this is false. Okay. You need to have a plan. Someone says you need to have a plan. Very nice. And yes, time's up. All of you are right. You need to have a plan in place. Totally agree. Oh, we have the next one. You only need to worry about health insurance once you're in your 40s. So all the ladies I know, age discuss nahi karna hai, age aapko nahi puchni hai, but do you think you really need to wait till 40 you reach your 40s to then start thinking about, okay, ab ek health coverage le lena chahiye or something like that? Let's see the comment section. False, false, false. Not true is also false. Okay, false and not at all as early. Okay, time's up. Someone says, not at all. As early as you purchase, better it is. Absolutely, ma'am. You've got it absolutely right. So you don't really need to wait for you to turn into your 40s, or for that matter, even your 30s. Even if you're in your 20s, the right time is now. All right. With that, let's move on to the next one. As a woman, your financial priorities should change completely once you become a mother. How many of you think this is true, and how many of you think this is false? As a woman, your financial priorities should change completely once you become a mother. Do you think it's true? Okay. Someone says it is true. Fair. A lot of you now. Okay. So we have a mixed opinion here. Okay. Some more. Let's wait for a couple of more answers. Okay. Time's up. Now, I will leave this for our expert to answer. Okay. Because the audience is in a 50-50 ratio right now. So again, uh, financial planning is basically an individual's choice and how he or she plans to do it. So if you think that it can change, it can change. And if you think this is not true, then again, you're not wrong there. However, we let Selesh, throw some light on this one in particular. Let's see the next one. You don't need to plan your own retirement as long as your spouse has planned theirs. So अगर दो लोगों में से एक ने प्लान कर रखा है, तो फिर तुम्हें प्लान करने की क्या जरूरत है? Is it true or is it false? A lot of you do not agree. Very nice. हम खुद की planning हम खुद करेंगे is what we all want to say here. Absolutely right. And all of you have got it right. This is not true. This is false. You need to have your own plan in place, irrespective of whether your partner has planned theirs or not. And if he has not planned, you need to tell him, okay, you better get your plans in place because mine is. All right. With that, I think we can move on to the next one. Medical emergencies for parents are unpredictable, but planning for them isn't priority until they are old. Okay, let's see how many of you think this is true. True, false, false, false. A lot of people say this is false. Okay. Do you really think you need to plan for their medical emergencies until they really, really grow old, like they turn senior citizens? Is that what you should really wait for? So a lot of you think this is false. Time's up, and the answer is right. See, the answer lies in the question itself. It's all unpredictable. You do not know what's coming up next. God forbid if there's a big medical emergency coming up, you need to have your plans in place. Hence, do not wait for them to turn old. Rather, get started right away. All right. Let's move on to the last one in this. You need to think about inflation while planning your long-term goals. Do you really think inflation needs to be thought through while you are going through your financial planning? Yes, that's true, true, true. Yes, a lot of people agree to this. We'll wait for a couple of more ones, and time's up. And yes, you all have got it right. You really need to think well about where inflation is going while you are planning your long-term goals, so that down the line you don't, end up with uh, you don't end up with a short capital in hand, and you don't know, कि inflation कहाँ तक पहुंच गया and मेरा तो goals meet ही नहीं हुआ. So with that, we end this interesting segment, and back to you, Ritika, to continue the session further. Thank you.
Thank you, Moen, for yet another interesting and relevant session. I think this sets the context. So, right, okay, what were we thinking? True, false, and all. And maybe during the session, we are able to decode whatever we discussed. So, thank you once again. Thank you so much. Okay, now let's dive into today's important conversation. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, we need to understand that every life stage of ours, every phase will have will need a different financial, game plan. And we need not restart, but there'll be, modifications and all that we'll have to do at each of that phase. Okay. So let me ask Abhishek, can I also have Sailesh with me on this?
Yeah, yeah.
He's
He is
there?
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
Hi,
not
Ritika.
visible. Hi, hi,
I'll
Salesh.
just
Welcome.
request Ritika, please introduce Shailesh to everyone
So
before
he
start the
doesn't
session.
need introduction. I mean, he's our one and only हमारे करता धरता, who's our expert and who is been in the industry for, I'm not wrong, Salesh. So if I'm wrong anywhere, please correct me. More than 25 years now. And he's an for us, he's our in-house expert. So be it your financial planning, asset allocation, be it anything, he's an expert there, and he's worked with different people and people in the industry. As he's helped a lot of investors across, to work on their financial journey and their financial plans. And we've been lucky to have him associated with Blue Bindi. We always reach out to him because he's somebody who knows what we are trying to do. Okay, and he's our bestest ally, because we're doing this for women, but he's somebody who who's already like, it's been 5 years and he's been with us, and every month with same enthusiasm, when we go and discuss with him about, we want to do something for Blue Bindi, is always in for it, because he knows, he is somebody who knows that I have that knowledge, and if I can share, it'll just multiply. So it's that compounding effect. So thank you, Sailesh.
Thanks, Ritika, for that kind words of introduction. It's always a pleasure to be, with the Blue Bindi team and all the lovely ladies out there. So I can assure you this will also be quite an informative session, what Ritika and team has planned for you. So we can start, Ritika.
Okay. Okay. So we'll move to the slide. I mean, we don't have a lot more to display. I mean, I would want you to talk only directly, but the only thing that we did, so that since the beginning, I've been talking about different stages, different phases. So what we've done is we've broken those down into different four stages where we would want you to, you know, uh, share what needs to be done when. Okay. So next slide. So this, everybody knows this is what we're doing today. Yes. Okay, so here are the different four stages that we would want you to talk about. Okay, so first, and again, because Mother's Day month, every day is Mother's Day. I mean, obviously, it's not a specific day that we have to be thankful and be grateful to our moms. Obviously, every day is Mother's Day, but because May is that month where, internationally, everywhere people are celebrating Mother's Day. So that's the reason we picked this up. So the stages that we've divided into need not be that whoever is on the call would be in these. Somebody would be really young. So we're just sharing this information so that when you reach there, right, you know what you need to do. Correct. So planning to start a family, then you have kids, raising those kids, what planning you need to do then. At the same time, you started your family, your parents, your kids, yourself, your partner. Now that, how do you grow that wealth? What do you do there? And lastly, this would be irrespective of whatever stage you are in, caring for your aging pets, who are getting old. You need to be support to themselves, to them as well. Okay, so Sailesh, we'll start with each of the stage. So moving to the first one, planning to start a family. Somebody who's, got married, and I'm assuming that we could have two situations, where both the partners are working, okay, and somewhere only the husband is the breadwinner, and wife is taking care of the house and all. So if we can break it that way, or any other way that you could, talk about.
Yes. Life is a journey, and we've been saying that even investment is a journey. So when we say life is a journey, we need to have a financial roadmap, and if we have a financial roadmap, then we need to have milestones. And Ritika, like you've put up a few of the milestones, which are pretty common to most individuals, and we are looking this from the woman point of view. So if you are someone who is planning to start a family, uh, certain you need to have a checklist or certain uh, points that you need to think about before you reach this phase. So, or if you already over there, you need to uh, check certain things, and one thing can be, and I have always maintained in the last session also that we had, we mentioned that you need to have a health insurance and a life insurance in place. So if you are a working woman, you're supporting your family in finance, then you need to have a life insurance cover and you need to have a health insurance cover. So health insurance cover, regardless if you have a dependent or not, whether
Mm.
you're a housewife or whether you are working, you need to have a health insurance cover, and
Mm.
you need to have a life insurance cover if you're supporting the family. So that is one. But
Mm.
what is important at this phase of life is that you need to check whether the health insurance cover that you have has a maternity cover in place, and whether what are the terms and condition of that maternity cover must be known to you. So you need to
Right.
talk to your insurance advisor
Mm.
and understand all those terms
Mm.
and condition.
Correct.
Second is you need to review your uh, life insurance cover, because there is one more dependent in your family that will be
Mm.
added.
Mm.
And because your responsibilities go up, your liabilities go up, you need to review your life insurance cover and ensure that you have an adequate cover.
Mm.
I had mentioned last time that you need to, the typical thumb rule for the life insurance cover is something which is 15 to 20x of your income. So need
Mm.
to, and if you've taken that already, then there may be no scope for you to add it.
Mm.
Certain things that you need to keep in mind from the finance point of view is that you need to ensure that you have your budget, the amount that you'll spend, in paying the hospital bills, and all those initial baby needs, the needs that will be required for the baby. That
Mm. Okay, we lost you, Kalesh.
Yeah, it's a technical issue.
Glitch. Yes, has to be.
Yeah, I'll check with him. 1 second.
Yeah, we can just message.
Request everyone, please आप हमारे साथ बने रहिए. We are checking.
I think any session or anything is not possible without any technical issue. That's given it happens. So, yeah.
आप सभी लोग हमें फीडबैक देते रहिए on the chat box, and if you have any query, please feel free to ask with Ritika and Salish.
Yes.
So, Ritika, am I audible?
Anji, we can see you. Now we can see you as well. Okay.
Okay, so I was just mentioning about certain things. So I mentioned about the health insurance plan that you need to check. You need to review your life insurance cover. You need to be prepared for those expenditure related to the maternity hospital bills, and whatever the initial baby needs. More importantly, you need to also go back to your your employer's policy related to the leaves, the maternity leaves that you can take, and in case there is provision for extension, should you decide to extend your maternity leaves, that also has to be checked by you.
Correct.
Uh, and one more important aspect of your finance is that if you've started an SIPs, or you have already contributing to the SIPs in your family, are you in a position to continue them? Because there will be parallelly a lot of expenditure and all. And
Correct.
while this is your paid leave, it is important to assess whether the SIPs that you are already paying for is not becoming too much of a stress on your cash flows. So these are
Mm.
some of the few things I think one needs to check
Hmm.
once you're in that phase of life.
So I would just want to add in here, I mean, because we were talking about this and, when I was thinking of, starting, planning to start a family back then. So I remember this was told to me by one of my colleagues, that you should understand what, because I was working. So, check with your employer what all benefits are available for you, like some companies give you monthly allowance once you convey to them that you are expecting. Then some of them, they also give you additional leaves that you could take. Okay, then as you rightly said, understand that what is that duration, when how many leaves can you take, and if there is anything, can you extend the same. Then at the same time, after this, a lot of companies also give, crash facilities. Like after you've delivered, you would resume work. Okay, assuming that you would resume and you would want to bring your baby to office. So there are a lot of organization that give you those facilities as well. And so all of that you just need to check and be updated about. And also the point that you mentioned about talking to your insurance advisor, there is some, I think, you've taken a policy, you need to communicate. I mean, if I'm mistaken, I mean, if I'm wrong here, so sorry, Salish, you can correct me, because I remember in my insurance policy, because I had not informed earlier, my pregnancy medical expenses were not covered. So while taking the policy, or whenever you're planning or whenever you're expecting, do check those details as well.
Right, Ritika. You need to, that is why I said you need to consult your advisor and be very clear, what kind of expenditure will be clear, because it should not come as a surprise and should not
Correct.
be too much of a bother. Should the insurance company deny any
Correct.
reimbursement.
Right. So, yes. So, to this stage, yes, you're planning, start thinking, talk to your friend. Not just that, not just your partner. I would also add, talk to friends who have, done it, in discuss with people, so you get exposed ki, okay, what all is possible, what all you should do, and what all you should take care of, because just your partner, maybe you're doing it for the first time, so you would not know. Correct. So speak to people around and in your office or in your family, so that you know what all needs to do. And the rest of the points, I think Salish has pretty clearly highlighted. We can move to the next slide. I think we've summarized that as well. No, just go back. So these points, I think everything Salish has already covered. After the presentation today, we can circulate this also for people to keep it handy and refer to it later. Okay, now moving Salish to the next stage. Next slide. Now you started, now you are in that zone that, okay, how do you raise kids, right? Now again, there'll be, as you rightly mentioned earlier, there'll be two approaches. Somebody who will want to resume back to work, and somebody might take a break and then go back to work or start something of her own or something. So then how do chalk out a plan for both these situations?
Right. This is one of the most crucial phases for every woman, especially those who are working, because at this critical juncture, you have to understand that so far you were contributing to the family's finances, and now you have certain decisions to make. So, one is very simple. If you decide to go back to work after your maternity leave is over and everything is fine, then you need to take further steps, and I'll share what it is. And another aspect is that should someone decide to quit job and come back at a later stage, if at all. Some people decide to come after 2 years, some people decide to come after 5 years, or so there are certain decision making that will has to happen, and I will share one by one what are the points that you need to keep in mind. Like I said about the health insurance cover, uh, this is important because now you have addition to the family member, you need to include that family member into the health insurance cover that you have. And in my last session also, I had mentioned that if you have a health insurance cover, it is always better to have a floater policy cover so that all the family members, uh, all those who are permitted within that policy, are covered in that. And you need to have adequate cover over there also. And we had mentioned that you need to have at least 10 lakh rupees cover, and maybe someone who can afford a higher should go for a higher health insurance cover. But it is important to check with your advisor that how soon can the baby be included in the health insurance cover. Second is you need to also, like I said, start SIPs. And Moin had asked this question, how soon should one go and start planning for their goals. So we all know that what are the typical goals that will materialize once the child is born. It will be related to the schooling, it will be related to education, it is graduation, post graduation. हर माँ बाप चाहता है कि अपने बच्चे की शादी धूमधाम से हो. तो if there are two kids, then the first, पहले जो बच्चे की शादी होती है, बिकॉज पहला बच्चा है उसकी धूमधाम से होती है. दूसरा है तो बोलेंगे ये तो लास्ट है, तो अभी इसकी भी धूमधाम से करते हैं. सो आई एम टेलिंग यू फ्रॉम द practical experiences, and there is a lot of excitement around this, but to ensure that this goal comes true, okay, both the husband and wife have to sit together and decide. And at this point in time, you will realize that how much extra money or extra saving you have to do. And because you need to budget that, your decision to extend the leave or to take a break will also matter. If there is, if you're not very confident, you may want to come back and contribute to the family's finances. But if you think that you're in a very comfortable financial situation and the husband salary and savings are adequate to fund the goals, then you may want to take a break and consider joining employment at a later stage. Uh, so that is as far as the all the goals that will manifest once the baby is born. But what about the monthly budgets? Your monthly budgets will also need revision, because of course there will be additional expenditure that will be happening. And as the baby grows, there will be they will start going to nursery, and others they will start going to school. So school fees and everything related to schooling will come into place. So it is very important to review your budgets every 6 months to ensure that your SIPs are also running, and your there is no unnecessary strain on your cash flow. I would also like to say that if you are doing investments, you can do the investment. Normally, people ask, should I do the investment in my baby's name? So if you're doing mutual funds allow the investment to be bought in the baby's name, and the joint applicants can be the guardians. So parents can become the guardians, the grandparents can become the guardians, and the child is the owner of those units of the mutual fund. And when the child becomes major, then he becomes the legal, he is the he or she is the beneficial owner of those units. But then they will become the owner of those units. So you need to also ensure that all the documentation that you do, if you want to open a PPF account for the kid, if you want to buy a mutual fund, proper nomination, joint holders, everything, the entire paperwork should be in place. So, these are some of the things that I can think of that you need to take care when you enter this phase of life.
True. And as you were talking, I was just remembering, I was just discussing this with my mom, and, to all the mothers or who would have experienced this, like when we were studying, okay, and the total, from say nursery to 10th standard, whatever my parents would have invested in my education, vis-a-vis what, today we are paying for nursery, junior KG, and all of that. Oh my God, the expenses have increased like how? Matlab, if I was talking to my mom, she was like, "This is the entire amount that we had paid for your schooling, and you are doing this for your little one now." So yes, we have to plan better. We have to discuss, and we have to make sure that what is it that we want for our kids.
Right. I think there's a sea change in where
Yeah.
things were, and even the expenditure. And today, when there is, I mean, you will be amazed at the level of detailing people do. So those are very serious with their planning. I mean, they want to consider each and every expenditure. So even if the child is getting ready to go to school, they want to
Mm.
provide for the pre-nursery, and even they're getting into a good school where they have to pay donations. So there's a donation
Yeah.
fund that that kicks in. And you rightly you mentioned that almost maybe 15, 20 or 25 years back, uh, the school fees was not much of a bother. Today,
Correct.
there is a separate fund that you have to build to fund the school fees. I mean, earlier it used to come out of the salary. It was
Mm.
part of the budget. Today it
Mm.
is a part of the fund. So that's the change that we are talking about. And that is why it is important to recognize this and plan well in advance.
Correct. Right. So not just raising, even while you're planning, thinking, keep these things in mind, so you know in which direction you want to go to. So, okay, let's just sum this up. Next slide. Huh. So I think, yeah, we've covered everything here. Anything else, Salish, we would want to add in this phase? Nothing. I mean, I think you've detailed it out very well and just
Yeah, and I
plan.
think, yeah. But I just wanted to, there was a talk also about inflation, and this is very important. And today also, while there is so much awareness about the amount of inflation we have, many people don't factor in inflation. So they think that
Hmm.
हाँ बच्चे की पढ़ाई के लिए 20 लाख रुपए साइड में करके रखें, लेकिन 20 लाख कब लगेंगे? 15 साल के बाद. That 20
Hmm.
will not be 20.
Hmm.
And so and I will tell you, the inflation for education
Hmm.
is upward of 10%. So if
Oh
you're
my.
budgeting something, so when we talk of education, we're not only talking about the tuition fee or the coaching classes fee. There are a lot
Hmm.
of other related cost to
Correct.
education that have to be factored in. So when you're saying this is my education fund, it's not only the school fee or the college fee. Okay,
Hmm.
today's books are expensive. Uh, they need to buy a laptop or an iPad or something of that sort. So there's a
Hmm.
whole host of other expenditure that is
I don't know.
connected to education, and that has to be budgeted for. So
Correct.
I have seen many planners using 5% inflation. I don't think so that's adequate, at least in India. If you're doing, you should something of in the range of 8 to 10% is would be more practical if someone
Mm-hmm.
is looking at doing this calculation with using online calculators.
Hmm. So a lot of planning, a lot of numbers here and there. We'll have to do that.
Right.
So yeah. Okay. So now moving forward. Um. Okay. So you starting a family, you're raising kids, and whatever you highlighted so far. Alongside, there is a lifestyle that you currently living. Correct? As you rightly said, already there were dependents on you. You have kids. You have additions there and you have your own aspirations, correct? So, how now keeping all that balance and at the same time having that, thing in mind कि अगर ये अभी मेरे पास इतने पैसे हैं, how do I keep growing that? At the same time, I'll be taking care of those expenses and everything, but at the same time, I want my wealth to grow. So, what do I do there?
Yeah, this is again a very interesting phase. If once you have crossed the phase where you started family and you brought up your kids, some people might want to now focus on building their wealth, or maybe because the initial phase could have been a little bit of stretch. Somebody must have taken a break and wanting to come back, or so. this is very important because, like I said, anyways, you would be. I'm assuming that some everybody has planned for the kids' education and the marriage and all, but when I say you growing your wealth, it is also about thinking about your retirement or your and your spouse's retirement. So it is important, and if you're working, that you need to keep the SIPs going. Okay,
Hmm.
because I always talk about SIPs because it's one of the most simplest and yet effective
Hmm.
ways of building wealth. And
Hmm.
you know, but then of course we have always spoken about asset allocation, adding more debt, gold into your portfolio. Uh, you need to review your portfolios once in a while. Once in a while means it could be 6 months, it could be yearly. But the point is that you should not stop. Okay, your SIPs should continue regardless of whatever the savings is. Okay, you may have your savings may not be up to the mark. Your expenditure may be off what you would have thought. But regardless of whatever it is, you need to continue with your wealth creation journey. Uh, so again, I think over here. You need to get in touch with your advisor. I have always seen that, rather than doing something on your own or the DIY approach, it is always important to consult your advisor because,
Hmm.
it is also that they keep you more disciplined and committed because they will keep
Correct.
nudging you to increase the SIPs. They will keep nudging
Hmm.
you to continue. If you because it is very easy to switch off or pause the SIPs.
Hmm.
So have that plan in place, review that plan,
Hmm.
and continue SIPs.
Hmm. So even if for the ones when you said, right, some might have to take a break or something, you've stopped. But as in when you see, there'll be some lump sum amount that you might just accumulate. There could be something, you have to keep one eye there that whatever money, whatever is happening, if it comes your way, you invest it in a manner, not just because nowadays that's also there, Shailesh. This is something I wanted to talk about, that parents also have that guilt factor. So whenever whatever the kids want, because you think you were away or you were busy with something else, you don't think, you just you go out and spend it all out, correct? So because of that guilt, those amounts could be a lot, right? But then you do those things because you have that guilt and you're like, okay, you're trying to pacify yourself only. No, no, but this is what I did for her or for him, correct? So I think that is also something as parents we should not give in. And अगर वैसा कुछ accumulate होता है कुछ है तो वो कहीं ना कहीं ध्यान में रखना है पैरेलली कि ओके ब्रेक लिया है तो क्या हुआ, ये कहीं ना कहीं इन्वेस्ट करके इन द लॉन्ग रन यूज करना है एंड नॉट जस्ट just spend it all out.
Right. So, the wealth creation that we're talking about here is okay, an important stage. And I just want to say that people I've seen think they have to do something very special,
Hmm.
and they want to, unnecessarily, they complicate this whole process of investing. That
Hmm.
is why I started with SIPs, and I said it's the most effective and the simplest way of investing. You
Hmm.
just need to consult your advisor, take three or
Hmm.
four good funds,
Hmm.
and continue with the SIPs.
Hmm.
Okay, whatever. If you're working and whatever, if your contribution is smaller compared to what your husband is doing, or both of you are equally contributing, continue with the SIPs. But I just wanted to, emphasize and reiterate that this is the most effective way. Don't try to complicate this process. Yes,
Hmm.
like Ritika, you mentioned, you may have to go sometime out of the way to, fulfill certain, demands of the children. It is perfectly okay. SIPs can be paused rather than discontinuing. There is a feature nowadays called pause. You go to the app, whichever,
Platform you're using.
platform you're using, and you can just pause SIP, and whenever you are ready, you can come back. So you can pause it for
Correct.
2 or 3 months, and you
Hmm.
can again resume the SIP. So you don't have
Hmm.
to do the paperwork or anything. So it's
Hmm.
that simple. But like I said, this is, once you pause it, you don't really pause it for a very long period. Then again, that habit goes for a toss.
Correct.
So, uh, yes, so this is another important goal or the phase of your life that you need to work on.
And I remember discussing this with you, and as you mentioned, that it is not necessary, like all of us, most of us on the call, are from Nuvama. We also know so many products, right? So we think, यहाँ भी डालना चाहिए, ये भी करना चाहिए, वो भी करना चाहिए. But as you remember, I spoke to you, like it's not necessary. You have to be everywhere. Decide that fund, as you mentioned, start those sip. You have the flexibility, switch it on, pause, start again, all of that. So just go and do that. That's simple, right? So yeah, make the most use of that.
Yes,
Uh,
just do it. That's the
mantra, correct. Just do it. Okay, so next, we sum this up. I think you've covered most of the points for us. Now, moving forward, and this one is again something that I spoke to you about also, of discussing it during our session. So moving to the last slide, yeah, caring for your aging parents. Okay, this was again something like, over the years, or specifically in our society, it's always been, that the son of the family, or the, boys will take care of parents, and that's been the mindset. Or parents, they make sure they have that much saved, and, planned for themselves, that if anything happens, they are in a situation that things will be taken care. But as as we've seen, things have evolved. It's not just men or boys or son in the family who take care. It's even the daughters, because earlier when they used to not work, they didn't have income to go out and support parents. Correct? You get married, you belong to that family, but now things have changed. Daughters go and take care, and it's not just about financially. It's about other things also that can be taken care for your parents. So from that aspect, I would want Salish for you to talk for this phase.
Yeah, this is again a very important phase for every individual, and especially in a family where there is a single daughter, or maybe there are a couple only daughters in the family and there's no son. So over here, the role of a woman becomes very interesting, because at one end they have their own immediate family, the kids, the husband, and the in-laws to take care of. On the other hand, they have their parents and those who are aging. So you will understand that as a person age, the more important thing is that they need to their medical cost and everything has to be kept in mind. So you need to be aware that this is the
Mm,
cost that is likely to go up, and naturally, if they have a health insurance cover, they need to
mm,
continue with that. You have to be extra vigilant that they have paid their premium on time, because they may
mm,
not remember, so that the insurance continues to be
mm,
alive. They need to have a emergency fund, because not entire bill, in God forbid there is any emergency hospitalization or something, then the extra money that is there required to be paid to the hospital,
mm,
that saving is available. So there has to be a contingency fund, a savings pool
mm,
that needs to be thought about.
mm,
Second is, yes, parents are parents, so they will they will never be dependent on their children, especially if it's a daughter. We've seen that in our society, parents really don't want to, when it comes to daughter, they are little more touchy, so they don't want to really, want anything contributed by the daughter. So if they have the investment portfolio and they're self-sufficient, as a daughter, you need to go back and check whether their portfolio is doing well, and
mm,
that it is secured, there is no risky investment, and it is
mm,
generating adequate income for them to meet the day-to-day expenditure. Of course,
mm,
yeah, you as a child will obviously want to be extra careful, and you will contribute to that fund once in a while.
mm,
uh, but as a child, you need to be cognizant that this is also something, while you have built something for a kid, and your retirement separately. And Ritika, like mentioned, that we are a sandwich generation. You're taking care of your kids, and you're also parenting your parents. So that is a phase, and you need to have, of course, the let's be practical. There is, limited fund, and you need to budget it or allocate it very judiciously. Okay. But as someone, from a something that you need to keep in mind is also ensure that all the documents like KYC and your passports and everything is valid, and it's validated from time to time. Their investments have proper nominations, and there are proper joint holders. Should, God forbid, if there is death, and then there's transmission of assets happening, there should not be any issues at that point in time. So all this paperwork has to be done. I find online investing is easy because I've seen practically many senior citizens, when they go back to filling the redemption forms and all, their hands shake. There is, they're not able to sign those documents, and there's a big hassle. You have to go back to
Mm,
the bank, get a certificate, and it's an issue to get even redemptions done. So I always
mm,
feel that, that there is a proper online mechanism, and I'm also saying that there is an underlying trust between the children and the parents,
correct.
that they should be operating that account morally and in the right way. But that
Mm,
said, this all things have to be kept, in place. One important thing is, the legacy document that we call as the will. If your parents have created one, need to ensure that you safe keep it. It is proper, and everybody who needs to know about in the family knows about it. This is very crucial.
mm,
Yeah. So these are some of the things that you need to take care of your parents from the finance point of view. Of course, there will be other emotional aspects which we are not discussing yet over
mm,
here. But
mm,
anything, as someone who is not really thought about it,
mm,
and you want to learn from others' experience,
mm.
you need to be really aware of this. And if you've not started this process, you need to go and think about it, and start somewhere.
Mm, no, true. I mean, the way you rightly said, those apps and online journeys are simpler and better. I think most of our parents have reached out to us when they started using, say, Facebook or now Instagram and all. And if we can teach them that, I think online other platforms would be easy for them as well. And that will also make their life easier. Correct. So it's not just financial thing, but in whichever manner they can support, have understanding of where the investments are, what's happened, and keep going through the same with them. So I think active participation is also good enough.
And I think,
So yeah.
the technology is so simple to use. I'm not really finding anyone, struggling to use a UPI or something. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
also they need to be updated about the scams and the frauds that we come across. So
Yes,
it's very
yes.
important that you, as a responsible child, educate them, and because this is the target, age group which is really
Yeah,
targeted by scamsters. So this is
yes.
also a very important aspect of maintaining the finance for your aging parents.
Mm, absolutely correct. So, yeah, I mean, from what we wanted to cover, I think next slide, we've tried and covered four different stages, phases. We've tried to highlight everything here. Thank you, Sailesh, for sharing, these insights and this information. Now, would want our audience, right? We tried to cover everything that we thought would be relevant for you all. Is there anything that you would want to know? Any questions that you have for us? Then please put it in the chat box, and we'll get Selesh to answer them. I had seen some. Okay, before we move further, Abhishek, we have only 5 minutes or something it's showing, or we can continue, right?
We can continue.
Okay. Okay, so there I see there are a couple of questions which we already have, Selish. I'll just read those out to you. Please clear how much Mediclaim health we have to cover. I think we did cover this in our last session, but you can still talk about the same.
Yes. So while we don't have a thumb rule for this medical insurance cover, because you can buy whatever cover you want, and by paying the premium. Unlike a life insurance cover where your income proof and everything comes into play. If you can afford a 10 lakh cover, you should go for it. Like I said, when you're buying a health insurance cover, you need to think about the future. So, um if you're thinking that you will not need this cover when you're 30, 40s, maybe, when you're in the 50s or mid 50s, when you will start feeling, that uh, maybe your health is not fine. It
Hmm.
is, you need to think maybe 5, 10, 20 years down the line that
Hmm.
how this policy will continue. So you should start with 10 lakhs. I think if that should be the starting point. And I had last time mentioned that there are policies which also give you no claim bonus up
Hmm.
to 100% of the initial sum insured. So if you have
Hmm.
a 10 lakh rupee cover and in the first year there is no claim, then some policies will give you a no claim bonus to the extent of 50%. So your 10 becomes 15. And if there is no claim in the next year, then that 15 becomes 20. So for the same amount of premium, you will now be having 20 lakh cover. So that is the beauty of these policies. And I always emphasize again, then you need to have a good advisor, someone who knows this. You need to reach out to them to understand that you're buying the right insurance policy.
Correct. Absolutely correct. I hope that answers your question. Okay, moving next is my parents are old now and I want to start talking about their care and finances involved. How do I start managing my parents' money without sounding intrusive? Yeah, this is also something people feel that, parents might just think कि इसको पैसा चाहिए अभी क्या, what is it? So yes, how
Yes, this
any.
is a very sensitive, very touchy issue, and we've seen this. The moment you start talking about it, there is a likelihood that parents may, take it the other way. I mean, it's quite
Hmm.
possible and not always the case. But if
Hmm.
you sense that, I think you should start slowly. You don't need to really get into the thick of action very immediately. You need to start slowly and then progress because initially you need to win their trust and
Hmm.
your credibility that there is a genuine concern, okay,
Hmm.
and you are trying to address that particular concern, okay, that you
Hmm.
don't really uh, you know uh, have an eye in, if I have to use it a little more
Hmm.
crudely, that on their money they should
Hmm.
not think about something that now uh, my children are looking for my savings and all.
Hmm.
So it is sensitive. I agree, and that is why I mentioned. But this is a very gradual process, and I'm sure if you have been a responsible child, your parents will rather be welcoming this thought. They will feel good about it that someone is taking care of them. But
Correct.
yeah, it has to be bad. It has to be very gradual process.
Correct. And also, I mean, this was my personal thing also that at times our parents also feel na कि मुझे पता है मैंने मैनेज किया है यू आर न्यू तुझे शायद आइडिया नहीं हो तो at times even you have to build credibility for yourself कि if you will tell me I will add on to it only you don't have to think मैं अभी भी बच्चा हूँ या बच्ची हूँ right so that way also if you have the conversation and keep having that not directly getting into मुझे बताओ and then it comes across कि okay you are being थोड़ा intrusive but otherwise just talk it out and talk about your experiences how are you doing it for yourself I think that way you can build that credibility for yourself and it can work
Right.
okay so I hope that works for you I think we have two more questions we'll quickly then wind up I am not the primary earner at home how should I stay involved in financial planning.
Yeah, I think we discussed this earlier also. Even if you are not, if you, like I said, if you take care of the budget, you ensure that if there is, you can build in more discipline, more commitment, or you are able to, contribute to extra saving by budget management, then, you've done your job. And like I always mention that if you can nudge your partner, spouse to see if they have taken adequate health insurance, adequate life insurance. Now that you know
Hmm.
the thumb rules, it is very easy to apply. So,
Hmm.
if there are gaps, you can keep nudging and saying that, you need to complete this. This is the gap that needs to be fulfilled. I think that will also show that, you're responsible, and whatever you're learning from these sessions, can be put to practice.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
even if you're not really earning member and really not able to contribute in terms of the money part,
Hmm.
but I think in terms of the education part, the
Knowledge.
commitment part, the discipline part is
Hmm.
something that is also an important role.
Correct, absolutely right. So, I mean, as you mentioned, whatever you're learning, not here, wherever, just start talking, start using those, words. So people again start to understand कि अच्छा ये समझती है, इसे पता है, right? Because एकदम से जाके बात करोगे, शायद people will doubt नहीं पता है. So, the conversation and your involvement has to be in a manner कि, I am also not an expert, but I know what it is, right? So that way, if you do, I think it should work for you. Okay. How much liquidity is a good idea if you're living in a city managing family and parents? Okay.
Uh, I am not sure what the question by term liquidity mean, but I am saying what I understand is, and I'll answer this in little detail. So I'm trying to understand that how much one should spend. Okay, if I earn 100 rupees, then how much should go into saving and how much should go into expenditure? Now there are
Hmm.
certain thumb rules that you can apply. So if you're earning 100 rupees, uh, then ideally you should save 40 rupees. That's a
Hmm.
40%. Okay. So that 40 rupees should go as SIPs. Now, if you have a EMI going, that 30 rupees should be maximum EMI. Okay.
Hmm.
Should not overstretch. And the remaining part then becomes your money is available for your household expenditure. So we always say work backward. Don't
Hmm.
first think what is the saving, then think what are the contractual obligations or compulsory payment like a life insurance premium, health insurance premium, EMIs, or some are
Right.
non-negotiable expenditure like children's school fees and all. And
Hmm.
then whatever the discretionary spending on maybe on the food, going out, lifestyle expenditure, which can be balanced, can be taken care of. But like I said, this is thumb rule, and some of this is could be very ideal also. You may not be there. Typically, when I do all this financial planning, I find that people have saving ratio of around 25%. Now, if you continue with 25%, then you will find that some of the goals may not be achievable. So,
Hmm.
having known that, you can always take corrective measures. Okay. So, you can aspire for going up to 40%. But
Hmm.
believe me, certain rules like EMIs and all are sacrosanct. You should not have too much of EMIs. मतलब I can share some experiences where people have gone over the board. चलो घर ले लिया बड़ा 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 EMI भर दिया लेकिन घर आ गया लेकिन retirement has been compromised, children's education has been compromised because there was no savings for that particular goal. So you need to balance it. If you want to buy a house, buy a small house, graduate to a medium, and then to a large as you progress in your life. But you don't really have to prioritize and non-important, maybe not a very big house as a priority, but
Hmm.
maybe priority can be always children's education, your health insurance,
Absolutely correct.
and something and retirement, those kind of things.
True. I hope that was your question. If not, you can ask another one and we'll help you with the same. Last one, Shailesh, so far on the chat is policies who cover maternity generally have lock-in period. How do you deal with this?
So there will be, I'm aware that these are the clauses that come in every policy, and you need to, whenever you're buying a policy, you need to evaluate. And that is why this whole idea was brought up in this discussion. Then you need to be aware before buying the policy. So if you're entering that phase, you need to know what is there in the policy, and that is why you can't do much. If a policy has a condition, you can't change it, but you will have
Hmm.
to see something that is flexible and meets your requirement.
Hmm. Hmm. So I think we are done with the questions. Ladies, if there is anything else, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to get you those answers. Anything, Sailesh, that you would want to, summarize? Anything that you would want to highlight, or the one wisdom that you would want to share with all the ladies who joined today?
So again, at the cost of sounding repetitive, I have always emphasized on investment management, risk management. So you need to take your health insurance, adequate health insurance. You need to have a life insurance place. You need to have your SIPs in place and start with whatever you have. Because,
Correct.
I've always believed, a saying that says start early, go slowly, reach safely. So in your life, you need to start early. Okay, don't
Yes.
delay. And
Mm.
it is also about, you go slowly. You don't have to really take too
Correct.
much risk with your investment, or take too much of a loan, and
Mm.
reach your goals safely, and you will really enjoy this journey. And the whole purpose of this was that, if because we are saying that you have a financial roadmap and you've set a milestone, there
Mm.
will be bumps. Okay, it will be a bumpy ride for sure. It is never going
Mm.
to be a smooth ride, but
Mm.
all you need is that courage,
Mm.
and confidence to navigate through that roadmap. That's the message I want to leave the audience with.
Thank you, Sailesh. Thank you so much. So, we hope today's session gave you that clarity, confidence, and courage to, start your financial planning at each of the different stages, phases that we spoke of. Thank you again, Moin, for the engagement that you always do for us. Sailesh, I don't have words, but yes, thank you for simplifying it and making it so easy, like anyone can just understand and, comprehend it. So thank you to all the lovely ladies who joined us today.
Thank you, Ritika, for giving this opportunity, and I really wish good luck, all the best to all the people who are on this call. For whichever phase of life they are in.
Hmm.
I really wish all the best and God bless.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Abhishek, and all my marketing team to help us with putting up this together. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, stay financially fearless. And if there's anything you need from Blue Bindi, then please do reach out to us. Thank you. Have a lovely evening. Bye bye.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risk. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.